Going to school, they taught us about the African American civil rights movement, but there's a problem with learning history that way. Reading about things in a book, it just doesn't always have a real impact. I'm a visual person, and I think most people my age are, and in order to understand the importance of historical events like that, you need to see them for yourself.
Thankfully, I had the chance to move away from abstract history and speak to Cecil Williams, a man who was involved with the movement personally. I asked him what the movement meant to him, and how he came to share that meaning with the rest of the world.
Getting involved in the civil rights movement was really it was no intent. It was just that at the time, you couldn't avoid being in the civil rights movement, because I grew up, of course, here in South Carolina, in Orangeburg. And as it turned out, in my opinion and the opinion of some historians, the epicenter of America's civil rights movement. But growing up in that environment where my family was involved, my brother and my sister, we were all involved, it was just something that you had to do. A lot of times I think of myself as really being a photographer who was able to capture the inside of America's civil rights movement, wherein the general press might photograph those events after they had happened. I could have the inside opportunities of getting students and individuals making the signs that later journalists would really photograph as they were seen marching and carrying the signs. Because in a way, even though we hear about the greatness of people like the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, there were many people that worked in the, you might say, the lesser roles that were really the persons carrying out many of the things that were going on. And they were just as brave as these people, but a lot of times they go unnoticed or their deeds are not recorded. So again, I'm very happy that I was able to really include their history in America's history books as well. I'm often encouraged by a single picture I recently came upon where there was one person who had a rock in their hand, and in the background there were tanks in the street. This person was, again, fighting for something. He believed in something that he could not, again, have any other play or any other participation. But there he was with a rock in his hand against a tank. I think that's an awful powerful and impactful situation. I think someone has said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. My take on it is that a good picture can be worth many thousand words, because the picture has to be properly focused, and the elements of that picture, that is, what is it all about, have to be involved in that photograph. We are fighting today still yet racism and discrimination, not only in this state, in this county, in this city, but really around the world. But still yet, the struggle must continue in order to really bring about a more just America. But seemingly, from the battles that we have fought and the journey that we have taken, that this would be a society that is free of racism based on color. But unfortunately, it hasn't happened yet. I hope in my lifetime that we'll move closer to a world that is free of racism and discrimination.
It's easy to think of the civil rights movement as an event, something that's over and done with, out of our hands. But the real essence of the movement? It was just people like us. Americans who wanted the simple right to be treated like human beings. The best way to keep their efforts alive is to remember how hard they fought. Not just the speeches and the marches, but the courage it took for just one person in the South to rise up against a system corrupted by ignorance. If we just hold on to their stories, their efforts never really disappear.